So talk to me about Question of Sport. So how did it come about, I guess, is the starting point?
So it was in April, March, April 2004. And one of the producers, I'd been on the show, many times as a guest, mystery guest. And then I got a call out of the blue from one of the producers just saying, Frankie Dettori, who was the captain at the time, they'd had a record date and Frankie Dettori had to pull out the day before or something like that to go and ride for someone very important, I think.
Yeah.
and was slightly stuck, but knew that he had to go and do his job. And he turned around to me and said, "Oh my God, is there any way that you can come in and fill in?" I was like, "Yeah, in a heartbeat." I mean, I had no idea what was in front of me, but obviously I knew the show well. And so I ended up doing 3 shows there.
Was it a 3-day record?
No, 1 day.
That's what I mean, three record day.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you ever get that thing? I mean, I always had this, and I still have it now, even sort of in the environment TV's in, where you turn up to someone like Television Centre, or you're in, was it Manchester?
A bit of both. We started in TVC and then up to Granada and then to Media City.
And you turn up to Television Centre and it feels like Disneyland. Like it's just this place that it was, and it still is in a certain sense, although, you know, there's a lot more Costas now than there was.
Yeah, you're drinking in Soho House on the top floor.
Well, yeah, a little bit. But I remember, my auntie and uncle did Live and Kicking. Well, actually, Debbie did Live and Kicking. She started a ballet company, Live and Kicking, when I was about, I don't know, year 3. I must have been 7 or something. And we managed to go, and I got to go backstage at Live and Kicking. And we were allowed in, but I wasn't allowed on screen because they weren't insured for anyone under the age of 13. So we just didn't, and, you know, there was just the lights, and you look up and, you know, the studio lights on the ceiling that just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It's just all these cables and stuff. And it just gives you this fizz. Is that what it felt like for you when you got the call up? Less so with the, it was less so about the sort of the infrastructure of it all, because I'd seen that as being a guest. I was in awe of the show. I mean, I watched the show since I was, just as long as I can possibly remember, playing with my family. My sister was always on my dad's side and I was with mum, and we'd go up against each other, all that sort of stuff. So I was just crazy about the show. I would be nagging my agent when I was playing rugby to get me on the show, and it was just an enormous ticket to get. So it wasn't like I was expecting in any way to be a captain. I was probably more nervous when I went on the show as a guest the first time and trying to write in a notepad, and I was just shaking because I was finally on this show. But when I got asked to be captain, the actual sort of I just decided to be who I was. I mean, and the producer, a guy called Carl Doran, said, we've asked you just to be you. So don't try and be any other captain, just be you. I was like, right, well, away we go. And I got a bit chirpy and a bit competitive and had a bit of fun with it. I found that relatively easy because the guests around you are creating the content and the conversations, and you're just sort of nudging them along and having a bit of a laugh with them. And of course, it's run by Sue. I mean, the show was run by Sue. There's no question about that. She orchestrated it beautifully. Yeah. So it wasn't. I didn't get overawed by the studio or the cameras, the expectation. It was the show. It was just like. Yeah. I just can't quite believe what I'm doing. And I was like that till the day I finished 17 years later. My feeling with it as a program is, it was a sports program, but had such wider appeals than that. My memory of it from when I was younger was it was start of the weekend, and it was just a nice thing to watch. And, as much as it was run by Sue, it was both you and Phil as well. It was like a warm
a guest, I suppose, in your living room. And I don't know if you ever experienced that, having, like, did you see that from the other side of the screen?
That's exactly what we tried to do.
Yeah.
And we were, that was a focus of the show, not just the three of us, but the whole production team. That was absolutely what we were trying to create, a TV show that you could put anywhere, anybody can watch. A vast majority of people who watched it weren't really interested in the sport. They saw it as an entertainment. They saw it as exactly as you said there, on a Friday evening, sort of gets you a bit warm and cozy. Just, whether you're just about to go out, whether you're sitting down for dinner, whether you're with the family, whether you're with a couple of mates. Wasn't offensive. It was a bit cheeky. It was, funny.
There's a lesson in it for format, just in general. I when I started doing local radio, and the demographic of local radio was always double me, shall we say? So, we were trying to work out the right way of giving it a broader appeal. I was doing Friday nights 7 till 9. Similar sort of time slot, I suppose, as well. And the decision we came up with was to create something that would appeal to the people that are the diehards, but is inoffensive to other people and they want to be part of too. And it's Top Gear's the same, I suppose, in a roundabout sort of way of, it appeals to the diehard car fans, but people watch it whether you like cars or not, as an idea. How do you feel about what happened to Question of Sport more recently, rather than when you guys left, or even just
it's as you've just described there, the format is the success of the show, along with those individuals who create chemistry, and that doesn't matter whether it's Question of Sport. Same could be said for Top Gear. Really, when those shows are flying, it's because the chemistry is really sort of genuine, sincere. That sort of natural feeling. And, some people are going to love it, some people are going to hate it, but they'll watch it because of the chemistry between those people. And I think, unfortunately, the format changed.
Do you know what the decision was behind that?
Well, like all these things, you will know this as well as I, that the execs change.
My feeling with it, and it's very loosely based, so it may be founded on fiction. But my thoughts with it were they were trying to compete with A League of Their Own.
No,
you not think?
No, not at all. A League of Their Own's a great show. It's been going. I mean, that's got to have been going 10 years. Has to be going 10 years. They're completely different shows. The League of Their Own, brilliant entertainment show. I don't see it as a quiz show. I know that they have questions, but for them, that's a way for them to get these people to entertain and have some fun around with great comics and people out of sport. I mean, it's a show that I continue to love and watch. And then they did the tour, and they've got these different characters. Well, certainly originally they had those different characters with Jamie and Freddie, James Corden, and then they've sort of adapted it with Jack and Romish, etc. And I think that, I mean, but I never saw it as when it first came on Sky. The chat was, oh no, they've got so much more budget, blah, blah, blah. And in fact, this Question of Sport started to shift a little bit, thinking, oh no, we've got to go down that line, we've got to make it more celeb-y. And me, Sue, and Phil were like, no, you absolutely don't need to do this, because we are what we are. We were a really, homely, very chilled sports quiz. I mean, that's what we did, and 6 million people a week watched it. I mean, there's not a lot to go wrong there, really.
I mean, I agree with you completely. My thoughts were that they shifted it, not understanding what the appeal of it was. When it shifted away from you, Sue, and Phil, the program changed. So the people that loved it for the reasons that we spoke about evaporated with it.
But I'm not sure that's not necessarily reflected on Paddy and Ugo and Sam that came in, I think it was more to do with the format.
Mm.
You know, yes, that's a big shift to take all 3 people out of the show and completely recast it. That's a big shift, but okay, that's fine. You can deal with that if the content and the format is what you just mentioned there. If the people are used to that format, then over time, and not very much time, they'll get used to actually 3 more people because they love the format. It's great.
Yeah.
Whereas what happened was, you know, and it happened throughout the whole of my tenure, execs would come and go, and the new exec would come in and think, oh, I'm on Question of Sport. Right. How can, you know, flagship show, how can I stamp my name on this show? And celebs, let's bring celebs in. Let's jazz it up a little bit. And over the years, we, you know, in a very polite and educated way, we would say, well, just hold fire. Don't go all in. You know, remember the things we've just said about there. Remember the format, the history, what the public love. And yeah, we can do a bit of Christmas with the celebs, or we might do some one-offs. We'll do comic relief. You know, you can tweak and change all of those things. But funnily enough, when it did go for a short period of time, when it went into that world of anybody going on a Question of Sport, and then the format changed, the questions started to change, and the audience are like, well, that's not a sports quiz question. Why are you asking that? Then the viewers started to dip away. So they changed it, brought more sports people back in, and then the numbers go back up. I mean, and that has gone on for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Honestly, it really has. So I think that was the surprise for us. We're just thinking, everybody knows where this goes to. Just because the execs change, it doesn't mean that the viewership's going to change.
So obviously it was yours and Sue's and Phil's baby, really. How do you? So I saw you guys. Are you doing a tour together?
Yeah,
something together?
Yeah, we are. Can't wait. Our 3rd tour.
Are you excited for it?
Yeah,
I guess
we were very, very keen to get stuck in. Well, we thought we did one a while ago. I think it was 2011, and so we were in the middle of the show, and then when we left the show, we did a tour that year as a sort of a farewell.
How did you guys feel when it ended? As in, like, not you guys, but when the show ended, was there a sort of almost like a, I've put my blood, sweat and tears into this for the last, 15 years of my life, and then now it's just past tense?
Well, you got to remember you're dealing with 3 sports people there.
Oh yeah.
They know what it's like. They know what it's like to get picked and to get dropped.
Yeah.
They know how to have a career and then know that the career is coming to an end. It's sort of, and a vast majority of people don't know that feeling because they just keep on working until it's time to retire. Then they retire. Whereas, we were very philosophical about it. We weren't happy in the way that it was dealt with, but actually
How did they tell you? How did they tell you that you guys your services were no longer required?
Yeah, they just turn up and tell you.
I mean, I remember when my Uncle Paul's TV show got the can and just no one told him. They just didn't make them anymore. And it was at a party at the BBC one day, and a dress designer went, "I'm so sad they're not making the show anymore." And he went, "Come again." That's all they told him. But that was a change of exec situation as well.